You probably already heard that you lack discipline, that you start things with excitement and abandon them, that you are inconsistent, distracted, unreliable. They told you you just need more willpower, more routines, more pressure. Maybe you believed them. Maybe you tried to force yourself to become someone else. And every time the interest faded again, shame followed quietly behind it. Here is the relief you rarely receive. The problem is not you. The problem is the story that was told about how your mind works. Losing interest quickly is not a moral failure. It is not laziness. It is not immaturity. It is a signal that something inside you processes the world differently. You are not broken. You are misinterpreted. Some people move through life like engines built for repetition. Others move like sensors built for detection. When a sensor stays too long in the same signal, it does not mean it failed. It means the information is already extracted. Think about how often you become deeply fascinated at first. You see patterns others miss. You feel energy surge when something is new, meaningful, alive. Then something shifts. The air goes flat. The curiosity dissolves. And suddenly continuing feels almost painful, like dragging your nervous system through mud. From the outside, this looks like quitting. From the inside, it feels like suffocation. This video is not here to motivate you to push harder. It is here to give you language for an experience you have been carrying alone. The experience of having a mind that opens quickly, absorbs deeply, and then closes when stimulation no longer feeds it. You were taught to measure yourself against people whose brains run on different settings. No one explained that interest is not a character trait. It is a biological response. And when that response fades, forcing it does not create discipline. It creates exhaustion. If this is resonating, it is because it is touching something true, something you recognized long before you had words for it. That recognition is not coincidence. It is memory. A quiet knowing your body stored each time enthusiasm vanished without permission. Today you are allowed to question the labels and to listen to the signal beneath the judgment. Nothing here demands change, only understanding and the patience to finally stand on your side. Today, onward. Now comes the shift that changes everything. What you were called inconsistent is better described as a high-resolution nervous system. Your attention does not move randomly. It scans for meaning, novelty, coherence. When those elements disappear, your system disengages to conserve resources. Think of your mind as advanced hardware running sensitive software. It is not designed for constant repetition. It is designed for detection. It notices subtle changes, emotional undercurrents, conceptual gaps. That is why beginnings feel electric. Your system is calibrating, mapping, learning fast. This is not weakness. It is an advanced configuration. Neuroscience shows that dopamine is not about pleasure. It is about relevance. Your brain releases it when something promises learning or insight. Once the pattern is understood, dopamine drops. For some people, it drops slowly. For others, it drops sharply. You belong to the second group. This does not mean you lack commitment. It means your motivation is information-driven, not reward-driven. When there is nothing new to extract, your brain flags the task as complete, even if society says otherwise. There is also a strong link to how your prefrontal cortex and sensory networks communicate. You process more data per moment. That creates speed, depth, and also faster saturation. Like a camera that captures more detail, you reach full exposure sooner. In daily life, this looks like passion that burns bright and then goes dark. It looks like starting projects with clarity and ending them with confusion about why they suddenly feel empty. The benefit is insight. You often understand systems quickly. You anticipate outcomes. You connect ideas early. The cost is friction with environments built for endurance, not perception. Schools, offices, and routines reward those who can stay engaged long after curiosity is gone. Your system resists that, not out of rebellion, but out of biological honesty. Once you see this, the shame begins to loosen. You were not failing to persist. You were completing cycles internally that others never noticed. Interest leaving was never abandonment. It was completion without external applause. Understanding this reframes your past, not as a trail of unfinished stories, but as a library of fully absorbed experiences that shaped your intuition and your unique way of seeing. That way still matters, even when the world misunderstands it, especially in quiet moments, without explanation required, anywhere. There are two core modules driving this pattern. The first is rapid pattern completion. Your brain closes loops quickly. It recognizes structures, predicts outcomes, and moves on. Biologically, this involves efficient neural firing and strong associative networks. The benefit is speed and clarity. The cost is boredom once mastery is reached. The second module is emotional filtration. You are sensitive to authenticity. When an activity loses emotional signal, your system reduces engagement. This is not moodiness. It is your limbic system protecting energy. When meaning drops, effort feels heavy. Modern life amplifies this strain. Endless tasks, shallow goals, constant noise. Your brain is forced to stay online long after relevance ended. The result is fatigue, withdrawal, and the mistaken belief that something is wrong with you. This is why rest does not always fix it. The issue is not tired muscles. It is overstimulated processing. Like a processor running too many background programs, shutdown becomes necessary. Isolation often follows. Not because you dislike people, but because interaction without depth drains you faster. Silence becomes medicine. Disengagement becomes a boundary. None of this is dramatic. It is regulatory. When your system overheats, it powers down. When input exceeds capacity, interest is the first circuit to disconnect. In environments that honor depth, this same brain thrives. Conversations feel alive. Work feels meaningful. Focus returns naturally. Nothing was repaired. Conditions simply changed. The pain comes from being told to override these signals, to push through numbness, to ignore internal limits. That creates chronic friction between who you are and how you are expected to perform. Understanding this does not erase difficulty. It contextualizes it. You stop fighting yourself. You stop chasing motivation. You start listening to the feedback your nervous system has been offering all along. This feedback was never meant to punish you. It was meant to guide allocation of attention. When ignored for years, it turns into burnout. When respected, it becomes discernment. The same mechanism that pulls you away from emptiness pulls you toward what is alive. That tension has a purpose even when it hurts. Even when others fail to understand your pacing, it asks you to choose environments wisely rather than forcing endurance where perception is the real gift. This distinction changes everything over time. Slowly, gently, without self-betrayal. That matters more than speed. Always. Traits do not survive evolution by accident. A mind like yours remained because groups needed scouts, readers, strategists, people who sensed shifts before others did, people who lost interest in stagnant paths and redirected energy toward emerging possibilities. Your sensitivity once protected tribes. It noticed danger, opportunity, emotional fracture. Today, the environment changed faster than biology. The signal did not disappear. It became harder to place. Picture a plant designed for filtered light. Place it under harsh sun and it wilts. Move it to the right shade and it thrives effortlessly. The plant did not change. The environment did. You are similar. Your potential expands in conditions that respect rhythm, meaning, and recovery. Where silence is allowed. Where depth is valued. Where completion is not confused with quitting. The work now is not self-repair. It is self-placement. Choosing contexts that do not drain your nervous system dry. Allowing cycles instead of forcing permanence. Protecting attention as a finite resource. You do not need to become more disciplined. You need to become more honest about what feeds your system. Limits are not weaknesses. They are design specifications. When you honor them, interest returns naturally. Not everywhere, not constantly, but where it belongs. And when it fades, you let it fade without self-punishment. If this reflection feels familiar, it is because you have lived it. You have felt interest vanish and blamed yourself. Perhaps now you can pause before doing that again. If you want to continue this exploration, there are other pieces that build on this understanding. Other reflections about sensitivity, energy, and alignment. You might notice them calling you when the time is right. For now, let this be enough. You are not losing interest because you are flawed. You are responding to a world that often asks the wrong things from the wrong systems. And awareness is the first environment that truly fits. Another conversation waits nearby. One about energy and overstimulation. If you felt seen here, you may recognize yourself there too. No rush. Curiosity will return when it has something meaningful to touch. Until then, carry this perspective gently. Let it soften old judgments. Let it reframe your story with accuracy, patience, and respect for how your mind truly works. That understanding is already a form of alignment. Nothing else required. Today.